Greetings and salutations, loyal viewers of this channel. My name is Sean, and today we're going to talk about this absolutely amazing video out of Cleveland, Ohio, where two teenage carjackers approached an old woman who was stopped to walk her two little dogs and decided with guns that they were going to carjack this woman. However, the 61-year-old decided that this was not going to happen today without a fight. And a fight she did put up, and we have surveillance video of this. It is absolutely amazing. Obviously, I'm going to have to redact some of the violence in said surveillance video, but the full thing is linked in the description so you can watch it under where it says sources, but we're going to get into this. But before we do, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay.
New tonight, Cleveland City leaders reacting to this shocking surveillance video. Two teens violently carjacking a 61-year-old woman, and when she fights back, one teen holds a gun to her head. Tonight, police believe these are the same teens behind a reign of terror across the city.
So as you can see from the opening of this local news segment, you have the surveillance video. You have an elderly woman who is trying to defend her vehicle from these two individuals. They are teenagers, age 17 and 14. They are repeat criminals. We will get into how many times they've been arrested repeatedly in the city of Cleveland, but obviously she is not deterred even when they point a gun at her face. And by the way, even though these guys are young, 17 and 14, they are experienced criminals, multiple arrests into the multiple dozens of arrests, and they're responsible for a bunch of carjackings according to police that have yet to be adjudicated. So yes, these are hardcore criminal types, and the 61-year-old woman is still not having it. She doesn't want to give up her car. She eventually loses this battle, but you know what? The fight is honorable. The fight is respectable, and I think it's absolutely crucial for people to understand who advocate for the black criminal that it is oftentimes the vulnerable black law-abiding citizen who ends up facing and suffering the consequences of the left-wingers' advocacy.
Newly released surveillance video outside of Cleveland's Thurgood Marshall Rec Center last month.
So first of all, I just want to point out something really quickly because this occurred outside of Thurgood Marshall's Rec Center, and that is anytime you have a location that is named for a black civil rights leader, get the hell out of that location because it's going down. On every Malcolm X Boulevard in the country right now at this moment, somebody is being shot, robbed, stabbed, killed, raped, or something, and this is just the way things appear to be. In addition to that, I will point out that this is outside of a rec center. Remember all these lefties who tell us these rehabilitation programs, these activities for the community, midnight basketball, that's going to solve all the criminality. Well, it turns out these places actually act as a staging ground for criminality, and that is why this woman unfortunately suffered the theft of her car, an assault on her person, and an attack of her dogs.
A 61-year-old woman walking her two dogs is ambushed by two teens identified by police as a 14-year-old and his 17-year-old accomplice. The woman fights back.
So first of all, I just want to say right off the top that I don't give a damn how old these thugs are. They need to stop getting slaps on the wrist from the justice system in the city of Cleveland, because look at the way that this individual ran right at this 61-year-old in order to initiate the attack, in order to initiate the robbery. And I will give credit to this woman because she responded in kind with an umbrella or some kind of a stick and started chasing these criminals, although this behavior is ill-advised because as we've seen time and time again, criminals and thugs like this will not hesitate in order to take somebody's life for the instant gratification of whatever they're trying to steal.
With what looks like an umbrella as the 14-year-old rifles through her car and the woman wrestles through the window, the 17-year-old kicks one of her dogs. During the struggle over her keys, the younger teen hands a gun to the 17-year-old who points it at her head. The feisty woman doesn't give up.
Again, there is no part of this video that isn't amazing. So they come up, run up on her, take her keys, it appears, while she's walking her dog. The woman chases the suspects with an umbrella, ready to conk them onto the head. She is not playing with these criminals, with these thugs. And then when one tries to get it on the driver's side, the 61-year-old woman is trying to enter through the passenger side window in order to stop him. That is amazing. Again, the spirit in this woman is respectable. It is commendable. But unfortunately, these thugs don't respect her at all. all, don't respect the law at all, so they are happy to rob this person who they see as an easy target. And remember what our society tells us, what the woke criminal justice reformers try to explain to us. They say that these carjackers, these thugs, these criminals, they're the victims of society. They're the vulnerable people. But look at what they do to somebody who's actually vulnerable, to somebody who doesn't want to be a victim, to somebody who's earned what they have and just wants to walk around with her dogs in the middle of the day in Cleveland, Ohio. And take note of the fact that that 17-year-old thug ended up kicking one of her dogs in a totally unnecessary moment, just to give you an idea of how violent these people are, of how thuggish they are, of how in need of retribution this woman is, because they deserve strict consequences. They deserve severe penalties, but they have not received that despite multiple crimes, multiple felonies, despite the fact that they're carrying around guns.
17-year-old who points it at her head. The feisty woman doesn't give up until the 14-year-old drags her away and he takes off in her car.
Yeah, so you see that right there. This guy ends up pointing a gun at this old woman's head. He's such a coward, so weak that he needs a force multiplier in order to go after her. But this woman is still not deterred. She's still going to keep fighting back. She's still talking trash to him. And eventually it takes an additional assault from the 14-year-old to drag her away from the vehicle for them to complete their crime. Again, what a great fight by this woman, standing up for her property, defending what she's earned. Likely this is a woman who doesn't make all that much money. Getting your car stolen, as I've experienced this year, is a devastating thing, and I don't know how regular, ordinary people who don't make as much money as I do end up dealing with it. But yeah, you can see the frustration right here. Now, everybody's gonna say, oh, well, this woman was just trying to save her insurance company money. It's just insurance that's gonna have to pay it. Insurance has no consequences of it, and I just want to point out that this woman's insurance will go up. She's 61 years old. She's likely very close to living on a fixed income, if she has any income at all, and these people just took advantage of her. They saw her as a victim, and as predators, which is what they are, they went for the attack, and they showed no mercy to her in that they attacked her physically, they shoved her, they attacked her dogs, they could have killed her, they were threatening her with deadly force, and this is being enabled by the criminal justice system of Cleveland, as we are going to find out.
He had been arrested 25 times. Wow. 25 times.
Cleveland Mayor Justin Bibb at Downtown Cleveland Inc.'s annual meeting addressed the teens' rampage across the city.
The men and women of our police department are working their tails off, and this person gets arrested 25 times and be released.
So look, while I do admire the fact that this woman was fighting for what was hers, that she stood up to these criminals, and I appreciate that courage, the real reason I'm covering this story is what you just heard right there. These guys, 25 arrests for one of them. 25 arrests. The juvenile justice system in Cleveland keeps giving them slaps on the wrist after slap on the wrist. And what do we expect the result of that to be, other than an armed carjacking of an old woman? 25 different victims, plus, by the way, because there were definitely crimes that they had yet to be arrested for, went without justice. And the result of this could have very easily been a 61-year-old woman losing her life over a car, but it's not just over a car. It's over a criminal justice system that caters to the thugs, the criminals who says, oh my God, 17 and 14, I can't tell the difference between those ages and the age of a baby, so we can't ever hold these people accountable. It is so great that we have surveillance cameras all over this country now for this purpose, because they would just sweep this under the rug, but for the fact that the video went viral. They would ignore this, they would deny this, they would try to pretend this away, but guess what? We see what went down on the video. Everybody has a picture of it, and there is justifiable outrage not only over this particular case, but over the fact that these guys have been allowed to get away with it repeatedly.
The 14-year-old is in custody this time, but for how long? Police believe the teen is behind dozens of other crimes in the city, including 19 car break-ins at Cleveland State University and much more.
I mean, again, 14 years old. They think he is responsible for 19 car break-ins, crimes, dozens of other crimes. And again, he's released over and over and over again because you can't hold the 14-year-old accountable. You can't have consequences for him. I mean, we just saw a video of him hand a gun to his 17-year-old counterpart, meaning he is the one who carries the firearm on him during this interaction. But what are we supposed to do about this? I mean, we can arrest him repeatedly, but for whatever reason, when we keep releasing him without consequences, giving him a pat on the head and saying, "Go get him, Tiger," he goes out and commits more and more crimes. If only there was a process that could be initiated after arrest. Now, hear me out, guys, because you might be a little bit confused about this. But apparently, in some places in the United States of America, they have this tactic where after somebody is arrested for a serious violent crime, over and over and over again, they hold this person in some kind of facility. It is called a jail, jail. I'm not exactly sure how it's pronounced because it's so uncommon in these cases. And then when they're in this jail, what ends up happening is they can't continue to commit crimes on the streets. And then this is also something that is wildly unheard of in these particular cases. They are then prosecuted. A prosecutor, which is the position that does this prosecuting, ends up holding them accountable for this, and then they get sent to prison. I believe the term is prison for their actions, and sometimes when you get multiple felonies, I believe they're called, they end up getting years and years in that prison. I think that would be the adequate solution for this. I know it is very abstract in these scenarios. I know it's very confusing for the people of Cleveland to understand that this is a possibility, but I think if you follow those steps for these repeat offenders, they will stop repeat offending on the outside. They will stop attacking old ladies. Again, call me crazy, call me a conspiracy theorist, call me a whack job, nut job, whatever, but just give this a try and see what happens.
But we can't do it alone. We need our judiciary partners to help us.
Cuyahoga prosecutor Michael O'Malley, who's been critical of the revolving doors of juvenile court, also at his breaking point, saying to 3 News, "Sadly, we see videos like this every day. Both of these punks have had prior cases and prior opportunities to turn their lives around. Judgment Day is coming."
So first of all, I absolutely love the end of that quote, that he accentuates it with "Judgment Day is coming." But right here, we have another example of what happens when you have these Black Lives Matter reforms, specifically in the juvenile system. Again, we're told, oh my god, you're not giving these kids a chance, school to prison pipeline, isn't this so sad? And what you find out is the result of that is that younger and younger kids are the ones who carry the guns, who commit these crimes, and the reason for that is because if they're in a gang, the elder gang members know for a fact they're not going to face consequences, so they just rack up arrest after arrest after arrest. And this is a perfect example of that. Again, the 14-year-old was carrying the gun. He had to pass it to the 17-year-old during the course of this crime. And that is exactly what we saw on display right here. And they get let off repeatedly. They get second chances. They get third chances, 24th, 25th chances. It doesn't matter how many times they offend, again, until people get attention. And the prosecutor says, look, the juvenile system is absurd. And again, this is due to post-Black Lives Matter reforms, post-George Floyd riot reforms that caused people to pass these laws all across this country, and he's tired of it, he's sick of it, and he points out that this is not isolated. This video just went viral, that's what makes it unique, but in Cleveland, you see crimes like this repeatedly, videos like this repeatedly, if you're working at the prosecutor's office.
And Prosecutor O'Malley's office tells us the 17-year-old's case will automatically be sent to adult court because of his age and the nature of the crimes. O'Malley plans to ask a juvenile court judge to do the same with the 14-year-old so that he can be tried as an adult.
Now, like you just heard, the 17-year-old's case is going to be escalated to the adult criminal justice system. Good. I hope he gets years in prison. And they're pushing for the 14-year-old's case to be elevated as well. And I hope they are successful in that regard, although there are many more hurdles for a 14-year-old as compared to a 17-year-old. But again, what we saw in this particular video is an unbelievably courageous elderly woman. Thugs who didn't care about her life, were willing to threaten her life in order to steal a vehicle, and a criminal justice system that looks at these two sets of individuals, the old lady victim versus the two perpetrators, and says, you know what? Life is too hard. for the two perpetrators. I mean, that old woman totally screwed over. She has to deal with the consequences of not having a vehicle. She has to deal with the potential injuries that she suffered and her dog suffered. But the real victims are the ones who inflicted that pain, inflicted that trauma on her. Again, we are so off base in our criminal justice system right now due to these reformists that I don't know if any of these places or every one of these places will be able to recover. But I want to know what you guys think about this down in the comments below. If you like this video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on my social medias, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about a courageous old lady who ends up fighting against criminals enabled by the system. Till next time.